Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody had a lovely week, having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, what a change of events we had this week. We were coming down. We're gonna have a big all-time high break and retest going on, and all of a sudden, bulls stepped up. We had 3 bear failures, and all of a sudden, we're back in new all-time highs. Who could have thought? You know, I'm just going to say it's pretty obvious, guys. We're going higher from here. You know, the bears, they kept failing. You have 1 failure right here with this gap up. You have 2 failures right here, and you have 3 failures right here. And now we're at new all-time highs. Expect that these dips are going to keep being bought. Expect we're about to go to 580 here on QQQ this week. And SPY is going to go for a ride as well. We're going to go over the indices. We're going to go over the Mag 7 stocks. And then I have a bunch of trade ideas at the end of the video just for you. All right, let's get after it. QQQ, guys, on the downside, you're watching 574.63, 572.11, 569.04. You break 569.04 early on in the week, you can expect that we probably are going to be revisiting this 21 EMA right here on the daily time frame. Until that happens, you have nothing to worry about. We're going higher. On the upside, we have 574.63. We actually are already over there in after hours here, and then we have this high here at 577. Okay, we're watching 577 and then 580 and then 582, 585. Those are your QQQ levels. SPY. All right, same picture here on the weekly chart. It's pretty obvious that we're about to bust through all-time highs here, and it was just a correction before we continue along the broader bull trend. That is how this is going to go. Okay, on the upside, we have 636.98, 639.85, 642, 645. On the down, and maybe 650 this week. On the downside, we have 636.98. That's the level we're right around right now. 635.54, 633.44. Until we break under 633.44, expect these dips to be bought. All right, if we do get under 633.44, we might come back down to 630 and test the daily 21. But it's very likely not going to be the case. The market wants to go up, and we're going to look at the Mag 7 stocks, and everything wants to go up, guys. That's the theme of today's video. Up, 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 up. VIX, okay? I know everybody wants this crazy VIX spike, guys. We got a volatility spike. It just wasn't held here on the pullback reversion to the mean. They faded it. The second we got a daily close underneath the 21 EMA told us we're probably going to start seeing VIX fall. That was the condition we were watching for. Second condition, take out 1628. The daily cloud was going to be flipping red during that. What happened? The daily cloud is now red. VIX is crushing back down to the lows, and now we're going to be looking for a sub 1474 this week. That means indices, broad market, go higher. This is how that works, guys. VIX is a great tool you should have in your tool belt here. But for the time being, yes, we are probably going to continue going a little bit lower. I imagine we're probably just going to, you know, come down here, find a bounce somewhere over here, and, you know, have some action like this. And then we have our next little, you know, thing build out over here as the market just drifts higher. Is probably going to be the case. Now, we'll take a look at IWM. You're just watching on the upside, 222.84. But I will say, guys, return of the September puts, they just keep getting loaded every day. I don't know. You know, maybe there's another bearish catalyst loading over here for IWM, but I just thought I'd point out, definitely, yeah, IWM is really the only one that's continuously getting this bear flow coming in day after day. So I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing, okay? But on the upside, as far as falling price action, on the upside, we have 222.84. Above there, it goes back to 226.14, 228, 230.70. On the downside, break 218.40. You're breaking this little, you know, 4-day range you got going on. Underneath 218.41, you have 215.93 and then 212.34. Come over to DIA, guys. Again, with the 4-day little range going on, break under 438.70, comes back down to 433. Break above 445, though, and it goes 448.86 and then 451.55 all-time high. Expect that this is about to go up to all-time highs. That is DIA. Now, coming over here, guys, let's talk about the Mag 7 stocks. Before we get into anything specific here, let's talk about the broad Mag 7s as a whole here. Okay, the ETF. The thing is going higher. The thing is rocketing. The thing just made an all-time high weekly close breakout this week. And, yeah, the last time we got one of these bad boys was over here. And what happened? You hit it with the break and retest the following week. You consolidate for 2 to 3 weeks after that, and then you had a face ripper rally go on. That would be like us consolidating for the rest of August, and then into September, we rip faces. All right? History does not have to repeat, but it does often rhyme. It loves rhyming, and I will not be surprised if it rhymes. Regardless, I think Mag 7 stocks, some of these are ready to freaking bust the move, okay? Tesla, it's finally going. Okay, guys, above 338, you're watching 367.71. That's our little, you got the top of this range. I was pointing out in the last video, guys, this thing just keeps compressing here. It keeps making lower highs and higher lows over here. At one point, you're going to make a lower low or a higher high. We don't know which one it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the upside. I've been talking about it. I personally have a bullish bias here. It can break either way, and you might as well just wait until this range breaks. Above 338, it's breaking. You're going 367.71 above there, 400 plus bucks. On the downside, you have 312.45, but more specifically, you got to break 288.77 to really get bearish on this guy. I really would just wait for that range break, but I think it's coming, and I think it's going to be the upside above 338 this week. That's Tesla. Meta, guys, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. I don't want to sleep on us this week. You don't want to consolidate and do absolutely nothing while some of the other Mag 7s ripped faces. Hashtag Apple and Google. Congratulations if you played Google. All right, but Meta is probably about to be back off the races, guys. All we need to do is pop above 785. We go 800, 820 plus. Okay, this thing is getting real tight in here. This thing is consolidating in a bullish manner. The rest of the market looks like it's going to continue. SPY and QQ are right underneath previous all-time highs / right above them in the after hours there. We know the market wants to continue pushing. This thing's getting ready to continue here. Just had the fresh all-time high breakout consolidated. All we got to do, break above 775. That brings us 785. Break above 785. We're talking 800, 820, 850. Let's get it popping. That's Meta. Apple, guys, expect dips to be bought over here. The tide has now changed. It's turning. The weekly cloud is now back to green. Okay, so that is now a thing. Who would have thought? The thing went freaking bonkers, okay? Don't you dare sit there trying to short this thing. You got no business doing so. The thing, okay, if we're just going to follow along with what happened last time, for all this consolidation, this massive pennant we built out, it's very similar to this one. It doesn't look exactly the same, but like I said, history doesn't repeat itself. It often likes to rhyme. This bad boy over here consolidated for 133 sessions. 133 days, 19 bars. This is 18 bar, 126. So we got 1 week less over here. Regardless, it's rhyming. It's ass off. And it just got the break above 225.70. 225.70 was this high over here and started. I took off the trend line, but this is the pennant right here. All right. So, we got something going on like that. Regardless, you broke above it this week. You're probably going 240 plus in the short term. We are either in one of these where we're probably going to, have another up week this week, or we have this going on, okay? Either way, expect dips to be bought over the coming, few weeks. Just expect that those dips get bought. We're seeing much higher prices. We had $20 million plus come in, above the ask. We're at the ask onto 1121.245C. Yeah, this thing's going, it's going 245 plus, but more likely it's going to 260 plus, okay? All-time highs are probably going to be on deck for Apple now that's trying to, turn around here. Either way, most of the time, pretty much every single time we get something like this going on, we do end up getting the next few weeks, all dips are bought. It continues making new highs week after week. And look at that. It didn't make a new high that week. Oh, what happened next week? So it's just consolidating right here. We're going to be watching for the bullish consolidation there in the daily time frame to form. We're going to be watching the pullbacks. We're going to look at all of them as buying opportunities. That is Apple. It's going higher, ladies and gents. GOOG, I was talking to you guys in Thursday's video, the last video we put out before this week's close. It would make perfect sense for Google to start, pushing up here. We had the triple flat top setup over here. Typically, we will not get that tight here on the weekly chart. So I was thinking we would probably be making a breakout on Friday. We did end up making the breakout above 198.16. And what happened, guys, you ask? It moved right up to the next target, 202.88. Above 202.88, we're talking 208.70. I think Google is coming up to all-time highs. I think it's going to be the next trender. Let's get it popping over here on Google. That's Google. NVIDIA, all right? Apparently, news has just came out over the weekend that they have now been authorized to sell chips to China again. Boom. Gap up, boom, it's going to ignite the setup, boom, you're consolidating here in a bullish manner, boom, this thing it's probably going 190, 195 this week. That's what I have to say about NVIDIA. Okay, weekly chart, we talked about it, get above 183.30, going 190 plus in the short term. Could have happened that week, didn't happen that week. They stayed consolidating right here, and now it looks ready for that pop. And oh, look at that, we get a catalyst coming into the week. Yeah, probably about to get a decent gap up over here and see 186, 187. Regardless, up. Microsoft pulling back to where it broke out from, 518.29. On the downside, you have 515.95, that gap left open from the earnings gap there. And underneath there, you have the 21 EMA. You lose the 21 EMA, guys, you have a change of structure, change of character going on here. And I would just say, even if it doesn't fall off a cliff here, it's probably just going to consolidate and be, giving us some pretty frustrating price action if you're trying to long the thing. I would not be touching Microsoft. I just pointed out, you have Apple to buy dips on. You have Meta that's probably about to explode. You have Tesla that's probably about to also start exploding. You have Google that just started making its way up to all-time highs. Dips are buying opportunities over there. NVIDIA is looking great. Amazon over here ain't looking too shabby here on the weekly time frame off that 21 EMA. Not too bad. Probably going to stay consolidating here for a few weeks, but nonetheless, guys, it's either going to consolidate for a few weeks and then push up, or it's probably just going to push back up to highs, and then we just make it up to all-time highs at 24252, and then boom, the monthly chart makes a lot more sense. And yeah, we're probably going to go a decent ways above there in the short term. Okay, regardless, we are expecting dips to be bought over here on Amazon. I actually don't think there's really going to be another dip that comes next week. I think we probably are just going to continue advancing here with how the daily time frame is set up. So on the upside, we have 223.82, 226.22, 229.29, 231.40. On the downside, 220.44, 216.30, and then 211.05. We don't want to come back down there, though. I'm actually just going to change the level. We're going to mark out the recent swing low, 211.42. Regardless, I would focus on Meta, Apple, Google, NVIDIA. Those are the Mag 7 and Tesla. But Tesla, we gotta see if it wants to troll. I think it's getting really tight over here. It's about to make a snap one way or the other. Probably going to be up. Let's get it popping. But really, my focus is going to be Meta, Apple, and Google a little less, but Meta and Apple, those are the things that I'm really going to be pounding the table on here. Meta for that next leg up, and then Tesla, yeah, damn right, we're going to be on this thing once it gets going, but I ain't getting faked out by Tesla, so we need this thing to prove to us that it wants to start going. You got real tight consolidation going on. The weekly cloud over here on the weekly time frame, it's been green. You've been consolidating, guys. Compression leads to expansion. We've been compressing for months. Okay, absolute months over here. This is 3 months. It's about to start making a move out of this range. It's going to be violent. It's probably going to be the upside. 400 plus might be incoming in the short term over here in Tesla. All right, with that being said, guys, let's go over the trade ideas going into next week. We're going to start off with the chips. Okay, MU looking like a monster on the week, guys. Broke out of this big ass range, had the failed breakdown, climbed your way back up there. Broke out of the range, break and retest off the range, tested the weekly 21 EMA today, this week, and now I'm going to tell you, it looks like this thing wants to get back above 130, maybe as soon as next week. Regardless, expect these dips to continue being bought here in the short term. Expect that this thing is going to start making its way to 130 and probably will start making its way back to all-time highs. That is MU. This is a really clean setup over here. Most of the time when we have something like this, it's not something that will fail. I do think this is probably going to be breaking 130 either this week or the next and starting to make its way up to 157.54 over the coming weeks. But yeah, MU might start going on a tear, guys. Just letting everybody know ahead of time. It just started. TSM. I've been talking about it. It makes sense that this thing is going to be going up and taking out that 248.28 all-time high. It keeps trying to do it. I've been talking about it ever since right here. And yeah, I think it's about to do it this week. The weekly time frame shows 4 weeks of consolidation going on here. We really haven't moved anywhere since we broke all-time highs over here. But yeah, I do think this thing is probably about to be breaking up to all-time highs this week above 248.28. We're probably going 260 plus. That is TSM. Now, guys, these are the sexiest of them all. Walmart. Okay, all-time highs. Congratulations. Congrats on the Walmart, okay? Walmarto over here decided to explode above 99.5, guys. We've been watching that 99.5 level for a while. We said straight to 102 and then straight to 105 after that within 1 to 2 weeks of breaking that 99.5 level. Guys, we went all in there one freaking day. We went straight up. And at this point, I'm telling you, Walmart is now breaking out of this consolidation. Anytime it does so in the past, this thing is now going to be starting a trend, a multi-week trend where dips are going to be buying opportunities. We're getting above 105.30 probably next week, but I'm talking 110 plus. We do have earnings in 2 weeks from now. I do think we're probably going to continue pushing into earnings. Walmart. Pepsi. All right. PepsiCo. PEP. Guys, weekly cloud, break and retest off it, flips green. We retested it, we held it. We now broke this weekly trend line here after rejecting here and over here a few times, 3 times. And now we got the weekly close above. This thing looks like it's going to take out 147.03 in the short term this week. And above there, we're talking 149.71, 154.92, and 158.03. 158.03 really is our target over here. That is what we're going to be looking for. PepsiCo on the move. Put it on your watch list. Speaking of these guys, all right, Target's going to be moving with them, okay? But you have earnings right around the corner. So keep that in mind. We do have earnings 2 weeks from now on the 20th, 2.5 weeks from now, 1.5 week from now. That being said, all right, I know it's going to be an earnings play when it comes because it's probably, that's like when it likes to make these big moves. It's off of earnings most of the time. So I think it's probably going to be the same case over here. I'm just putting it on everyone's radar ahead of time. Since the other guys in the space are, starting to pop up again, you got Pepsi, Walmart doing the thing over here. All right. Target is probably not long behind. And I'm also going to say cost is looking not too bad at all. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. But Target over here, it's doing the basin thing it likes to do before when some of these big moves up. It can move down, but I'm just telling you, a lot of the time it will base like this before having these moves up. So I am thinking that's probably going to be the case considering what's happening with cost, Walmart, and Pepsi over there. And, we'll just look at KO considering that's probably moving up as well. It's looking a bit sloppy there, but it probably does have a massive move up around the corner. Just like one of these big impulsive moves up. It's got a very tight consolidation going on now. We do have that trend line. I'm just going to mark this out right here. All right, and I'm going to put alert there just so I get notified when the thing is on the move because it's probably going to be making another decent move excuse me, hiccups are back pretty quick. Oh my gosh. HD is on the move. HD just started moving again, and just like Target over there, you do have earnings in 1.5 weeks, so keep that in mind. But we did have the weekly cloud flipping back to green. You are starting to break up from a base above 389.75. We're probably going 401.01, and then 408.75 can happen in the short term, but I would say 400 plus coming in the short term. HD. We probably are entering a stage like this where dips are going to be buying opportunities. Maybe we get a big earnings move. Probably not. Regardless, I'm going to be watching this thing into earnings because post earnings, this thing probably goes back to all-time highs, and I want to be part of that trend when it happens, okay? Next one is Hood, guys. Congratulations. All right. Hood got it going this week. We got a 200% off of Hood. We also, actually, we got two nice ones off of Hood this week. We got a nice 80. Actually, it went about 200%. I was just a pussy on Friday. But yeah, no, we're rocking with September calls over here on Hood. 120 is the target. 125 coming next. This thing was setting up the breakout. This thing now has started breaking out. It's going a little crazy. Expect it to continue getting the dip spot. Expect it to continue making these new highs. Weekly breakout over here this week. We got the weekly close above 113.44. We did go to 115 plus all in one day. Congrats if you made freaking money. But at this point, guys, we're going 120, 125, maybe 130 in the short term. Next 1 to 2 weeks, put it on your watch list. CRWV starting to turn around, has its first green weekly candlestick in quite some time. It looks pretty nice to me. The daily chart is what really stands out. You got this nice trend line break going on Thursday, and then Friday you came back, retested 122.19, and then got bought up for the end of the day. Now you do have earnings right around the corner, so you're gonna have to wait for those to happen. All right, I'm telling you, it can make a big move off of earnings, but it's probably not. You're probably just going to see all the premiums get crushed. So those are on Tuesday after the bell. Tuesday after the bell. The idea here is to wait until after. We're going to see what happens. We're going to let it digest because we do have a bullish setup here, and it probably will start making its way back up to the highs, but probably won't happen off of earnings. Maybe I'm wrong, but probably not. It's just what happened last time. We didn't really have a move off of earnings, so there was that. All right, that's CRWV. GLXY, Galaxy. It's consolidating here in a bullish manner here. You got this bull pennant, bull flag, whatever you want to call this thing. You got it going on here. You're getting really tight against the 21 EMA. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 tests off the 21 EMA at this point. This is probably going to be going up. If you can take out 3042 right here, 3042 above there brings 3317, and then probably all-time highs at 38 bucks. This thing is known to move big when it starts breaking up from these consolidations. We're going to see if it can start breaking up from this consolidation. That's Galaxy. Next one, APP. Again, congratulations if you ended up banking off APP with us this week. APP was our money printer, and it's still going. Yeah, APP is a freaking monster, man. Freaking monster. I hope you guys made so much freaking money this week off APP, okay? It made my week. I hope it made your week. And that is that. But yeah, from this point on, guys, it does have a big weekly breakout above 428.99. Dips are going to be buying opportunities. We're expecting them to be bought. Solid chance this thing just keeps drifting higher here and has lackluster pullbacks that just keep getting bought up. But as of right now, the thing is extended here off the 5 EMA. We very well could consolidate for Monday or Tuesday and then push up off of that after. In my personal opinion, okay? 428.99 is the level to watch on the downside. That would be a break and retest right there. But, you know, again, I hope you guys made a killing on this. We were watching for earnings. It didn't even get the move off of the overnight earnings move, so people had chances to buy the premiums crushed off open. And then the stats still lived because it had a 15, I think it was a 15% move at the highs there. At 16% move at the highs. Freaking insane action over here, guys. But I do think this thing is probably going to continue trekking up. So that's APP, guys. All-time highs incoming over the coming weeks, probably. Regardless, we're going to keep watching these dips over here. But congrats if you made money there. IRIN, all right. Bitcoin, it's starting to perk up here. It's not really doing much compared to what it's been doing for a while now. It's still just in this range. We're going to have to wait for it to go. But, you know, considering IRIN held up so much better than everything else, you know, you got coin taking an absolute shit over here. You got MSTR also taking an absolute shit over here. And then what happens? Okay, IRIN is looking beautiful as ever over here with the break and retest off previous all-time highs at 1575. This thing might just start pushing back up to 2154 next week. And if it breaks it, we might have some boom, boom moves over here in IRIN. This thing can get some big moves going. It doesn't have massive moves all in one day. It likes to grind higher. Okay, sometimes it does. Like this was a 20% move at the high here, just about. Sometimes it does get these big moves, but you know, most of the time it will just grind higher. So just keep that in mind. Oh, this is a 30% move. Okay, so maybe we do have some boom boom candlesticks on the way. Regardless, just set those expectations. Realize this is definitely a grinder here on these big weekly candlesticks. A lot of them come from the thing just grinding. So shorter dated options, just keep that in mind if you're trading them. Regardless, if Bitcoin's going to be on the move again, I think this is the one we should be watching. IRIN. Okay, next one we're watching, Sound. All right, over the coming weeks, guys, dips are going to be buying opportunities. I think we might be going through a period like this. Okay, but yeah, you just you pull back. You didn't take out the last swing low here in the weekly time frame. Made the higher low, and then boom, you pushed all up all in one day there, and went back to highs there above 1356. Now I'm just going to tell you, this thing might consolidate and might pull back over the coming weeks, but it's probably something that will be bought. If we see a big red week there, chances are it gets bought the following week. You see that pullback there that happened, chances are it gets bought up. So if we see these pullbacks, we're going to expect them to be bought just because this thing is telling us that it wants to be continuing higher here. That's what we're going to expect. That is Sound. APLD. APLD, I know the thing didn't want to go this week. I know. Okay? But this thing is very likely still going to be going right around the corner. It still has this crazy setup to move. Still has this little inverse head and shoulders, cup and handle pattern, whatever you want to refer to this as. It has it going on, has this bullish consolidation going on to the weekly 21 EMA. It's now pushing back up. It just needs to get above 1542 and it's going to 1968. Okay, that is the next stop. There's nothing in between then. Okay, probably 17 to 18 bucks on the break above 1542. That can come the same day, same 1 to 2 sessions, and then shortly after 1968. That's APLD. Cost. All right, cost over here, guys. I actually took it off again, congrats if you ended up making money over here. I shared the cost trade idea. I'm going to talk about the best one yet, guys, and that's going to be Netflix. We're going to talk about it right after here, guys. Netflix is going to be the theme for next week. Netflix, we're about to make a fucking bag. I hope you're about to make a bag as well. But cost over here, I personally took it off because it was about 100% there, and I do think it's probably going to get this pullback here. This is the last time the daily RSI started hinging up off of oversold territory. That's where this trade idea really came from. We were in the golden pocket. It was on this day right here. All right. And now I'm going to tell you right here, you had one pullback. You had two pullbacks before the actual ripper. You had one pullback. You had two pullbacks before the actual ripper. I think we are probably going to get that vicious pullback at some point, whether it be something like this that makes the higher low, or whether it just be vicious and it violates these lows over here that were put in, and then we're going to buy that. Regardless, all right, you're also up about 100%. You could easily take it off and just wait for that pullback to get back in. Maybe it goes off without you, but considering the last two times this is how that went down, yeah, we're probably it's probably safe to say we are going to get pullbacks along the way here. And even if it drifts a little higher next week, yeah, who knows, the following week might end up pulling back here to 957.70, and yeah, then you get a better entry. Okay, so there's that. But either way, if you took the trade idea from what we mentioned, you should be up about 100% on 919 calls. So there's that 1000C. Still going 1040, 1080, still probably going to be the case. But yeah, I do think a better entry is probably going to come, and you're up 100%. So don't be a greedy little pig. There you go. TEM, guys. TEM right here. Gapped up off of good earnings over there, but faded the move. Now we're going to be watching 65.82, break above 65.82, and this is going to be probably starting to move here. You're getting really tight here on the weekly time frame. You get this trend line you're watching here. This thing might be about to start breaking out. Okay, so we're going to keep it on our radar. I know it's not doing anything in the short term here, but if it doesn't make its way back up to 65.82, that's probably where that's going to start getting this quick move 70 plus pretty quick. Okay, so that is TEM. Now, this is the star of the show today, guys. Netflix. Okay, Netflix. This is probably going to be a big move in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I'm just going to point out the last 6 times you bounced off the last 6 times you printed your first green weekly candlestick off of the weekly 21 EMA. You had at least a 13% move fall over the coming 2 weeks from then. Okay, so you go 3 weeks from this low here, which means we have 1, we have 2. That means the 8/22 expiration, but 5 out of 6 of these moves, they happen within the first 1 to 2 weeks, which means that could happen by next Friday and be at $1,300, and we have the 8/15 expiration. Okay, regardless, Netflix. Again, another motherfucking money printer over here, guys. We ended up hitting the 200% with the overnight move there, all right, on Friday. But I'm also going to say this is a massive swing trade waiting to happen here. This thing is probably going to be busting some crazy moves over the next 1 to 2 weeks if this stat is going to play out. And we're about to make a bag, okay? Real talk, 9/19 expiration. I gave it to you guys when I made the post on Twitter. They're going for $700 at today's low, Friday's low over there. They're going for $700 a con. The 1300C 9/19 expiration, guys. They're not going for like $1,500 a con. All right, so it's still not too late. The thing above 1215, it goes 1260, and then 1300. I think 1300 is either going to be hit by this Friday or next Friday. That is a big gain. Okay, so I currently got the 822, 1270s going, and then I also like the 919 calls and got those going. But I'm just going to tell you guys, I think this thing is about to rip faces. I think this is the next big winner over here for us. And I think you should definitely, most certainly, put it on your watch list so maybe you can make some fucking bank with us, okay? All right. I hope you guys are having a great time. I know the market's been frustrating, guys, but when the market tells us to get risk back on, we're going to immediately go and take advantage of it, okay? It's our job as a trader to manage the risk in order, just size down. When we have an uncertain market like we've had for weeks now, we've been talking about it ever since over here they were loading the boat on puts. You have to be just taking risk off the table with all that happening. And if you're putting on new positions, you should be sizing down in a market like that. When the market starts telling us it's about to be risk on, we're about to start taking the big hammer swings again. And I'm telling you right here, Netflix is about to be another big one, okay? And I do think Meta is probably about to be a big ripper as well. But Netflix, starve the show into next week. Put it on the radar. This is all you need to have a really good fucking week. This week into next. Netflix. Okay? So that is that. And that, honestly, that's the star of the show. That is my favorite trade idea that I'm pitching you guys in this video. Just letting you know. Okay, so moving on. All these other ones lackluster. You can literally pay attention to Netflix, trade that over the next 1 to 2 weeks, have yourself a bag, have a great ass August going into September, and yeah, you're gonna be able to do this.
That was easy.
Yeah, you're gonna be thinking like that. You can be like, ah, shit, man. Oh yeah, that was easy. Okay, but next one, ANF, guys. ANF, we talked about this before it really started going here, but this week it did end up taking the last weekly wick out. You're now at 105. Expect dips to continue being bought over here. I do think a bull trend just started up over here where we're going to get this action where every little dip is going to be bought over the coming weeks and months, depending how those earnings goes. As long as earnings doesn't make this thing shit to bed, we're in the clear for ANF. RKT, expect this dip to be bought. If it retests 1590, expect it to be bought. Regardless, this thing is probably going to be having a move like this over the coming weeks. That is RKT. But monthly and weekly time frames are set up there. I know it's looking pretty ugly as of right now, but it is very likely going to be bought here on this pullback. There's RKT. Reddit, guys. Reddit did end up hitting it with the 1-2. We got the second green weekly candlestick after a big impulsive move up off of earnings. If it's going to go how it did last time off the big impulsive move off of earnings, we're going to pull back this next week, and by the following week, that gets bought. So I'm going to personally be watching for that. Any pullback I know is going to be bought over here up to all-time highs. So it's something I'm paying attention to, and I like the 919 expiration for calls. That's Reddit. A-Lab, another one where we know dips are going to be bought. This thing freaking exploded this week off of earnings, and we know that dips are likely to be bought over the coming weeks. So if we start seeing them, okay, I don't care if the whole week you didn't get bought up. It's probably going to be bought the following week because that's what it likes doing when it's trending over here, okay? That's A-Lab. All right, next one, Lemonade. Lemonade start popping off this week, okay? It's now consolidating. It can keep consolidating, but if it pulls back into 47.25, it's likely going to provide a buying opportunity. Okay, we're going to say 44.53 to 47.25. That's where, you know, if we test there, probably going to find buyers coming back to the equation. And then we're probably going to be on our way up to 53.85 and then 58.83. Regardless, we're expecting further upside this week, whether it just be some crappy candlestick like this where, you know, boom, we go another, what was that, high 43.87, and then on this high, yeah, another like 3 to 4 points, whether we're looking for another 3 to 4 points past that high, or whether it's going to be this thing where we're starting a full-on trend here. Regardless, we are expecting dips to be bought, and we are expecting higher prices here coming this week. That is Lemonade. MCD, guys. Like I said, I had a much cleaner setups at the beginning of this for you guys. These are just all of the ones I'm watching at this point. MCD over here, I do think it's starting to turn around here in the weekly time frame. So I think we're about to bust a, you know, start a trend that's probably going to last about a month and maybe 1 to 2 months once this starts going, and dips are going to be buying opportunities. So MCD, that's one you could pay attention to as well. They had earnings, it's out of the way. Now there's no juice premiums. It's one that we're going to be focusing on, okay? Last one I got for you is BBAI. I still think this thing is just in consolidation before its big move up. But again, if you want the things that are going to be moving this week, we're talking Netflix. We're talking Walmart. Okay, we're talking IREN for Bitcoin over there. We're talking Pepsi. All right, Pepsi looks phenomenal. We're talking MU. You want movement this week? This thing is likely going to make it up to 125, 130 this week. Okay, there's money. Okay, TSM, there's another one. But, you know, really my favorite one is going to be Netflix, Walmart, and Pep, and MU, and Hood. Those are them. Okay, all the other ones, they take a back seat. Okay, you focus on these ones. I just put your eye on there. All right, my list of 4 to 5 tickers there. You're gonna have a really good time this week into next. I hope you guys kill it. I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to killing it with all of you. All right, guys. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. I hope you fucking kill it next week. I'm going to be here supporting you. So we're all going to kill it together. And yeah, all I ask is that you leave a like on these videos. That is all I request. And if you want to come trade with me, I'm live every single day trading these markets. What you guys are seeing in these videos, we'd be trading these as well as, you know, spying QQQ every day. Not every day, but most of the days. But yeah, either way, I'm live every single day in the Discord, and you come trade with me. Link is down below. All right, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.